Hello again, and yes, it's another update from my tropical garden. The hot, dry weather continues, as I'm sure it has done for many of you watching. This week we actually got up to 35 degrees, so that's about 95 Fahrenheit. It's been super hot and yeah, absolutely no rain in sight. I cannot tell you how fed up I am of this thing. I can't wait till we get some rain and I can actually stop using the watering can. And I'm sure many of you are feeling the same. If you're new to my channel, then I should quickly explain a little bit about how I like to grow here in the garden. So I mainly grow fruit and veg, and I do that in a mixed bed style. So I don't have like rows, like neat little rows. I'm not a very tidy person, confession there. No, it's all jumbled up. And actually, I find it a really productive way of growing. And I also think it's just a lot more fun. Yes, so the plan for the garden today is really just to start prepping for autumn. I'm aware that we're already at the middle of August and I'm probably a little bit behind, but not through any fault of my own, I think, because the weather's just been so hot. It's not really been possible to prepare. Like, it doesn't make sense to start sowing seeds and things like that in these incredibly warm temperatures that we're having. But yeah, I've looked ahead in the forecast and I think now is probably the optimal time to start that. Now, to start prepping for the autumn garden, I also need to harvest some things to make space. So that should be fun. I can show you what's done well there or not so well, we'll see. And yeah, I'll also be giving you just a quick update on how some of my plants are doing. So, you know, the tomatoes, the peppers, the squash, the courgettes, oh, and the kiwi berry. We'll see if the fruits on the kiwi berry are actually ripe this time. So yeah, let's have a look around the garden. Yeah, so Tilly has something she wants to say on the video. There we are. She's just come up meowing at me. No idea what she wants. There we are. So there you are. Look at it. Complete jungle. A complete jungle. Now in this shot here you can see one of my magnificent tromboncino plants. Now tromboncinos, for those of you who don't know, they're kind of a mixture between squash and courgettes. When you get like a seed catalogue, sometimes they're in the squash section, sometimes they're in the courgette section. They seem to have some kind of identity crisis. And what I will say is I've noticed that they're very drought resistant because they've got a little bit less water in them than, say, a typical courgette. Now I just wanted to show you what the tromboncino fruits look like if you've never seen them, because they are something to behold. So yeah, they are amazing plants and I love the leaves. I think they're just so beautiful and just tropical really. Just the most amazing foliage in the garden. But yeah, let me show you the fruits. Can you see? There we go. That is a tromboncino. So yeah, it's meant to be in the shape of a trombone. I've learned from previous experience that I have to be very careful how I hold these because, yeah, yes, you know what I'm saying. And let me go around the other side because there's another one around there. So yes, this is all the same plant and there's another massive fruit there. And yeah, actually if you look, just want to show you, it is huge. And actually, oh, it goes all the way over here, look. Where's it going? Yeah, it's gone everywhere. So the tromboncinos do have a tendency to rather take over. I could have done a better job supporting these and getting them up higher. To be honest, I'm not that fussed this year because a lot of the other plants in my garden aren't doing very well. So, you know, they're not really taking the space away from anything. But what you can do is if you get them up high, then you can actually use the shade that they create to grow things like lettuces and, you know, your greens underneath. But yeah, I do think they are just the most magnificent plants. It does make you feel like you're somewhere really tropical. So I do also have a more normal courgette plant growing here. This is the variety Shooting Stars, if I remember that correctly. And the reason I chose this variety was because it's meant to be drought resistant. And it's funny because I chose it back when it hadn't stopped raining for months on end. But yeah, I was right to think about drought, as it turns out. So this is the first fruit that this variety has produced for me. What I can say is, it hasn't really been a true test because I haven't got any standard courgettes growing in my garden. But actually this variety is not more drought resistant than the tromboncinos. So If you're looking for a drought resistant plant that you can use in the same way as you would your typical courgette or zucchini, I actually think just grow the tromboncinos, because at the end of the day, you can use tromboncinos in exactly the same way as you would courgettes in the kitchen. Yeah, so here I am then next to one of my thornless blackberry plants. Now I only got this earlier on in the summer, and it's a very wide pot and there was just loads of space around the base. So I thought, well, I need to use that space wisely. I've got a very small garden, and on top of that, do you know what, bare soil is a definite no-no, right, in terms of evaporation and needing to water more. So anyway, I planted all these radishes around the base, and my hope was that I'd have lots of tasty radishes and salads and things like that. But because of the hot weather, it hasn't really worked out. Most of the radishes have just run to seed. But anyway, it has worked as a kind of cover crop, so all was not lost. And actually, radish flowers are quite pretty, which is something I didn't know. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to harvest the radishes that I have in here. Maybe some of them will be okay, and I might be able to use them in salads, let's see. But once I've taken them out, my aim is then to sow some more radish seeds in, and radishes do prefer it a little bit cooler, so hopefully my autumn radishes will do a lot better than the summer ones. So yeah, enough talking from me. Let's get taking them out. Yeah, so there actually is a little bit of a bulb on that one. Hey, that's one for the kitchen. To make this even more precarious, I've got some nettles that have decided to come in the base here. So yeah, I'm getting stung at the same time. I'll have to dig them out. Yeah, that one's not done so well. Never mind. Ooh, okay. So I'm assuming that had the weather been a bit cooler, they probably all would have been that size. That's probably what they're meant to be like. So yeah, it's definitely worth trying again, I think, in the autumn, because that is a decent size to go in a salad. Yeah, so that's all of the radishes harvested, but as you can see, this pot has just been totally taken over by nettles. Yeah, I really need to dig them out before I do any more sowing. Oof. Right, okay, so that took a little bit longer than expected. It must be a while since I used my gloves, because yeah, I couldn't find them at all, and I've gone for an odd pair, so that's fine, they'll do the job. So yeah, so it occurs to me while I'm down here that this would be an ideal opportunity to actually harvest my carrots. Now, I'm quite excited to see how they've done. This was actually my third attempt at growing them. The ones that I actually sowed in the garden soil were doing incredibly well, and then all the slugs came along and ate them. So I decided to have a go at growing them in pots, and yeah, I'd be interested to see how it's worked out. So let's actually have a go at harvesting them before I do the nettle clearance job over here. Okay, yeah, so you should be able to see the pot quite well there. So let's have a go. This here is the variety Nonce. Let's see. So there seems to be something. Oh, yeah. That's a carrot. That's a carrot for a hobbit, isn't it? Come on. There's got to be one decent carrot in here. I'm determined. I'm determined to find one. Yeah, that's not doing very well either. Oh dear. So it could be that the heat has also affected the carrots too. Who knows? Yeah, they're all so tiny. Yeah, so I think we can say that I'm not going to be winning any prizes for the size of my carrots anytime soon. But yeah, anyway, I have freed up a pot here, so I can probably sow some lettuce or some autumn salad leaves in there. You know, I love Mizuna, so I could put Mizuna in there maybe. I do have another variety of carrot that is finishing off too, so let me have a go and see if they fared any better. Yeah, so these are my other carrots here. This was just the variety large, that's what the seed packet said. I'm sure that's not its actual name. As you can see, I've probably waited too long to harvest these. That probably may well have affected the size, but anyway, let's see how they've done. Well, they're not large, but they're a bit chunkier than the others. Man, oh man, how does anyone grow carrots? Wow. Yeah, so they're all quite small still. Yeah, so this is a form of progress. At least now I have actually been able to grow something that resembles a carrot. I obviously need to work next year on trying to make them a bit larger somehow, because Because yeah, these aren't really going to be that useful in the kitchen, are they? Let's be honest. Okay, yeah, so the harvesting's done. Oh, the things in the pots haven't done very well, have they? But they're going to do better in the autumn time because things like the lettuce and the radishes, they're going to prefer the cooler temperatures that we get in the autumn, and yeah, they will do well. Right, okay, so let's denettle these pots. Gloves on. Right, so that's better. I've made some space there. Yes, if you're anything like me, you know, I've been spending so much time in the garden with the watering can, just trying to keep my plants alive, that I haven't really had a lot of time to do any real gardening. So that job's been on the to-do list for a while. So I'm pretty pleased to have actually done it. Right, I'm just going to get some soil, put a little bit of fresh soil on top, and then yeah, get those viola put in. So this here is the Miracle Grow fruit and vegetable compost that I've been using. If you remember the seed compost experiment, I really rubbished their general multi-compost. It did really badly and it was incredibly fibrous. But yeah, I have to say this fruit and vegetable compost that they have seems pretty good, and it's quite reasonably priced. So yeah, I'll give them credit where it's due. I mean, saying that, I'm sure they don't care what Amanda thinks, but yeah, it does actually feel really great to be doing some gardening again and not just watering. Yeah. So yeah, we'll see how the autumn radishes fare. So that's some of the autumn radishes sown. I'll also do this pot. Maybe I'll leave it a couple of weeks to give maybe a bit more for succession. And yeah, likewise, I think the 2 carrot pots there, I'll sow them up with some lettuce and yeah, some autumn salad like Mizuno and things like that. So yeah, that's the autumn garden. At least it started. It started. It's always good to make a start. Yes, in terms of getting the garden ready for autumn, I do also have a load of perpetual spinach and some chard that are ready to go in. The boar's blood, which I like to grow, which are like the beetroot leaves, haven't done very well for me, so I'll try again with that. But yeah, you can see that they're starting to get to a decent size. Still struggling a bit with the leaf miner problem, but I'm just hoping that they'll survive into the autumn, because once we get into the autumn, the leaf miners become less of a problem. I often find that I'm able to pick chard leaves throughout the winter time, so I do really want to have them in my garden. Yes, so one of my favourite parts of the garden is my pond, which has been really used this year by the frogs in the hot weather. And actually there are a couple in here, although you'd be hard pressed to see them. They are good at hiding. I don't know if you can see that there. There is one just in front of the stick with his head popping out. But yeah, it has been really used. I get typically 3 or 4 in here at a time, even though it's so small. You can see there's a lot of signs of drought on this side. It's a really dry part of the garden. The raspberries are looking frazzled. I mean, luckily they'd already fruited when the really dry weather started, so that's good. Because if these were, you know, the autumn flowering raspberries, I'm not sure I'd be getting much fruit off them at the moment. Yeah, so that's the raspberries. Now, moving on down, the peach is doing fine. I have now removed the hanging basket, and yeah, that's doing fine. A little bit squashed. I think it's been sat on by a few cats, but yeah, it's doing all right. But what I really wanted to show you over here is my sedums. And do you know what? They're really struggling in the dry weather. And when your sedums are struggling because of drought, I mean, it's been dry, right? Because sedums are meant to be some of the most resilient plants going in terms of lack of moisture. So yeah, you can see the one at the back there. It's trying to flower. It's going to have pink flowers. And the one in front of it has already flowered. It had these beautiful yellow flowers. So that answers the question that we had when I did my January, I think it was, video about buying the sedums, and they didn't have any labels, so I didn't know what colour the flowers were going to be. So yeah, we've answered that mystery, but it's not been a very good first year for them. However, they're clinging on, so I'm sure they'll be fine, and they'll do better in more normal summers. Yes, I do really want to give you an update on how my peppers are doing, because yeah, I'm just so chuffed with how they've turned out. Look at this. So I showed you these last time and they were still very, very green, but yeah, they are now ripening, and I think they'll be deep red before you know it. So yeah, there is quite a lot of fruit on there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at least 5. Now next to that pepper, I have this one here, and this is another one of my mystery peppers, right? So it just germinated by accident from something I'd thrown away in the compost bin. And I really wasn't sure what it was going to be, and I actually thought it was going to be a bell pepper. But hey, guess what? I was totally wrong. Look at it. It's like I think that's a bird's eye chilli, right? I think that's what they're called. And yet there are loads of fruit on here, so that's going to be really, really productive. I think I'm going to get loads of chilies off that, and still quite a few flowers yet to do anything. So providing we don't go immediately into a very deep autumn, I'm going to have plenty of chilies there. So that's terribly exciting. I had to make a trip to the garden centre and I picked up this one here, which is a sweet pepper variety. By the way, this is another one of my foraged pots, shall we say. Someone was just giving that away, left by the side of the road, and I was like, yeah, I'll take that. And I saw this and I was like, I can go in that pot. So they're the same variety as this plant here. And what I decided to do was take one of the red pointed peppers that I got from the supermarket and just sow the seeds. So basically replicate what happened with the accidental plant, but do it on purpose this time. And my plan is to grow these on, pick, 3 or 4 of the strongest plants, put them on a sunny windowsill over the winter, and then, yeah, basically I'm just replicating what happened with this plant here, but instead of nature just germinating the seeds for me, I've done it myself. So yeah, now, so that does bring me on then to very much what I consider the star of the show at the moment, which is my kiwi berry. Hey, and actually, I haven't trained it up, but if I wanted to, this is now tall enough to reach that trellis behind it there. So yeah, it is growing really strongly despite the weather conditions. It's its first season. There's been 3 fruits on there. As I say, I did try one. I did try one in my earlier video, and they weren't ripe. So yeah, I am going to see if these berries are actually ripe now, like how firm they feel, and if I can do another taste test. Yeah, so I just felt the berries there, and I'll be honest, they're still absolutely rock hard, so I can't imagine for a second that they're ready yet. What I will say, and I mentioned in my last video that I was a little bit concerned that despite how sunny the year had been, they didn't appear to be ripening very much. And what did that mean for like future seasons, future summers, which didn't have as much sunshine as this very unusual summer that we've had? But I thought about it a bit more, and I thought, you know what, where these plants actually are in the garden, when you look at it, they're not getting a lot of sun down there. They're right down on the ground. And in all likelihood, when they're up on the trellis, they're going to be getting a lot more light, even in, a less kind summer. So I do still have hope, and I do think it's definitely worth trying growing kiwi berries in your garden. So please don't be put off by that. But I do strongly recommend growing kiwi berries rather than the traditional large fruit variety, particularly if you have a small garden. There's quite a large public garden near me that was trying to grow the large fruit variety, and yeah, they've had them for several years. They've never produced fruit, and they have 2 of the trees, and one of those trees has now died and it's not a self-fertile variety. So I do think kiwi berries are so much easier to grow than the large fruits that you get in the supermarkets, if you're in somewhere like the UK with the climate that we have. But yeah, if you can imagine, when that kiwi berry goes all the way up this trellis, the berries are going to be getting so much more light. So I'm not too deterred by the fact that these kiwi berries are taking so much longer to ripen, because normally, you know, you wouldn't be picking fruits from down here. And the fact that it is fruiting at all in its first growing season is pretty amazing. Sorry, I've just seen a casualty from the heat here. This is a bit sad. Look at one of my French bean plants. Oh, that is a bit sad. Oh dear. Yes, here you can see then my tomato plants. They've been incredibly productive. I've also got the tomatoes out the front, remember, and yeah, I've been having tomatoes, lovely fresh tomatoes, twice a day. I've got these beautiful small red tomatoes here, and then I'll take you along. You can see this here is the golden sunrise, which is absolutely delicious. And then I've got the Acquia down here. Now you can see that. Well, actually that one there, this stem here actually kind of broke off, and then I tied it up just to allow the tomatoes to ripen. But generally speaking, you can see that these tomato plants are looking really quite fatigued, and I assume that's because of the weather, probably the lack of moisture, I don't know. But regardless, they have been incredibly productive, and I have been really enjoying these tasty fruits. And yeah, I've got way more than I could ever eat. That's for sure. Yeah, so before I sign off, I do want to give you a very quick update out the front. I'm aware I haven't taken you around the front for a long time. It's just hard to film in the front garden. You know, my neighbours do insist on going about their lives, so blame them for that. I want to just show you this zinnia. I actually sowed these zinnias back in March as part of the seed compost experiment, and look how well it's doing. So this is the variety Sahara Sunset, I think that's right, and yeah, I'm absolutely chuffed with this. I think they're really beautiful flowers, and yeah, you can see how strong they're doing, and there's still quite a few buds on here, so I think I'm going to have some beautiful blooms here for a few more weeks to come at least. So yeah, highly recommend this variety. I think it's really beautiful. Now this here is one of my Acquias, and they do take a little bit longer to ripen than some of the other tomatoes, but there are some hiding, I think. Let me just show you. There you are, look. There are some Acquias in there which are ready to be picked, and yeah, don't they look delicious? So I might be having them with my lunch. And then just move around. So I've got one more Acquia here, and then I've got the two more of the golden sunrise. So believe it or not, these are two separate planters. The plants have just gone crazy this year in the heat. I've never known tomatoes go quite like this before. I mean, I've obviously not done a very good job of staking them, but yeah, this is a problem that I've not had before, to be honest. I've never known growth be quite this vigorous. This is literally just two plants that have gone absolutely mad. So yeah, they are producing so much fruit. I can just show you. See, there's some beautiful orange tomatoes there. I really love the flavour as well. Oh, it's hard to describe, but yeah, I don't know how to describe it. I'm sorry, I'll have to think about that for another video. You see, so there's some more lovely fruits under there. And yes, oh, look over here, look. There's just loads tucked in there and in the back there. Can you see? So yeah, everywhere there's just loads of fruit, and I think there's still loads more to come. Usually I find that I'm picking tomatoes well into September, often October time, so yeah, there's still plenty more weeks of lovely tomatoes to come. Yeah, and do let me know if you've had issues with your tomatoes going like this. Is it just me? Because I've never known them do anything quite like this before. I assume the weather's just been so fantastic for them that they've just grown so much more than I would normally expect them to, and I obviously haven't provided them with the supports that they needed. But there we are. Lesson learned. Yeah, so that then concludes my latest drought garden update. I do hope that this is the last of my heatwave garden videos, and that the next time we're back in the garden and looking at it together, it's all looking a little bit more green. I would love for the grass to be a bit greener again, and yeah, and you know, for my arms to get a bit of relief. I don't know about you, but I feel like I've built some real upper body strength this summer. I would really love to hear from you in the comments section how you're getting on with your autumn garden planning. I've just found it so hard this year. You know, it's not been the right weather for sowing seeds really. It's still too hot. And yeah, by the time I've watered the garden, I'm just knackered. I'm absolutely exhausted. I haven't got the energy to be, you know, sowing seeds and thinking ahead for the next season. So I do think now, it really is the time now to look to that. And I think hopefully the temperatures are starting to come down a bit, and that will allow us to kind of look ahead and yeah, into having a really productive autumn garden, because certainly there are so many things you can grow in autumn and there's still so much time left in the growing season. Don't think that we're coming towards the end of summer and that's it. Oh no, you can still have a really productive garden in autumn. So yeah, don't give up, keep going, plan your autumn garden, and I'll be back with an update very, very soon.